Hi guys, we're here with Mindy Kaling from the Mindy Project, and I wanted to ask you, Mindy, the end of season two. I think your show prides itself, and you correct me if I'm wrong, of being unashamedly this romantic comedy. And
Yes.
boy, you didn't pull any punches in the season final. How did that all come together?
Well, I think we wanted something very ambitious for the finale because I just have that. I just think you always should do that in the end of a series. It's just like give them something big and make it appointment viewing. And we thought, we're getting to this place where most of the stories were Mindy centric. It was usually her point of view, and this was unusual because it was Danny's point of view. And he did voiceover for the first time in it. So all of that stuff was kind of fun and scary to us, and we just thought like, okay, this is a guy who doesn't make romantic overtures. What would it be like if he did the really theatrical ones based on some of our like, what he knows Mindy loves, which is like these, Nora Ephron, Nancy Meyers-y kind of her favorite movies, and it was so much fun to write.
Actually, Danny Lioness asks, will we see any more Danny voiceovers?
You know, it was so enjoyable to have Chris Messina do voiceover because he has this low gravelly voice, and the act of doing voiceover is so sort of sentimental and whimsical that was really fun to hear. But like anything else, I think we don't want to get the new toy and then use it till it breaks. So I think the answer is yes. I'm not sure when we'd use it, and if we do use it, it would be sparingly. But I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, and they also ask, will we see any more of Danny dancing in season three?
Danny dancing. Uh, Again, it's kind of the same thing as the voiceover, which was it's like I remember in The Office with Creed. Like Creed would sometimes say like things like, "Which one's Pam?" So it's so pleasing that your inclination as a writer is like every episode he should have make a demented remark, and so I think we have to use it sparingly.
Hmm. Now, that final episode is the Emmy ballots came out this week, and it looks like that is what the episode you chose to submit for writing for the show on the ballot. There's three other episodes that you weren't the credited writer for. Why did you pick that episode, and is that also the episode you'd pick if you were nominated for lead actress at the Emmys?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, all four of the episodes, it was pretty hard to narrow it down, but those were the four episodes that I felt were when we were doing what we do best, which was like super hard comedy episodes with moments of like real poignancy. And I picked the finale because I thought that it just had an epic quality to it. We went to New York and shot on actual New York sets and went to the Brooklyn Promenade and the Union Square Arch. I mean, the Washington Square Arch. So for me, it was more like there's a couple episodes I'd written that I thought were great writing, but that one was the one that I would have felt the worst not submitting, if that makes sense. But all four of those are fantastic. The Christmas episode was great. We did this really risque episode that I think came out great called Indian BBW, which introduced the United States, the large part of the United States, to what a BBW is, which many people do not know who don't watch pornography. So, yeah, those are my four favorites of the year.
Mm. And I guess for the lead actress race, since it's from Chris's perspective, it might not be the best submission for you.
Oh, Danny and Mindy. So the finale, Danny and Mindy. Maybe this could just be a little naive of me, but I feel like if you submit an episode for something, at least when I'm voting, I think of just how the person was over the course of the series.
Mm.
I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about what I would submit for me personally if I were nominated. Mostly because I think to speculate into the future like that is bad luck, or I don't know. It's like a distraction maybe, or kind of overconfident.
Mm. Yeah, no, definitely. Now, being Mindy Kaling playing a character called Mindy on the show, do you ever get confused for being the character you play on the show?
I think there's a little of that, and I think that, well, when I started the show, my character was named Mira because I thought it wouldn't be good and it'd be confusing to have the same name as the character, but Kevin Riley really felt that the character should be named Mindy because I think he thought it made it more personal. And at that point, I was like, okay, Kevin, I totally respect what he said. Plus, he was going to put the show on the air. So there was sometimes a little confusion, but I take the good with the bad. The character has a much harder job than me and much more noble job than me, so I love that. At the same time, there's some aspects of like my job as a writer and a showrunner that I think people are a little bit surprised that I do because of what the character is like, but it's fun. It's like she's a great character, so it's not that bad.
What are the biggest differences between you and the character you play?
My character, I believe, owned and lost a gun. And she has a real libertarian streak, which is very fun to write for, but me personally, I don't agree with many of her politics. What's really fun about the character is that a lot of the things that she does are based on just kind of a kind of like entitled, like I don't have to, no laws have to apply to me, like come from a kind of a very funny, selfish place, which makes her a funny, flawed character. But for me, I don't feel there's. Also, she's very like delusionally confident. She's always saying things like, she's always insisting she's very young, and she's always doing things like, okay, everyone knows that I'm 27, and she just like kind of lies all the time about stuff that is like factual. So I definitely don't do that, but I find that really fun to play. She also dates really hot guys all the time, which her dating life is like insane. And I live the life of a quiet comedy writing nerd, so those are big differences as well.
Yeah, well, it is like a rom-com sitcom, the Mindy Project, and I was gonna like ask, like it's always tough getting rejected by a guy, getting rejected by a girl, but have you ever been rejected by a guest that you wanted to play your boyfriend on the show?
Oh, like had asked an actor to come and play a guest, and they haven't. Kevin Hart, who is actually a friend of mine, we wanted to have come be on the show, but I guess he was too busy being a huge movie star. But he's someone that I love. I think he's so super funny, and I think his energy is very intense in a way that would match Mindy's. So I love him. Wait, can I ask you, where are you right now? It looks like you're in Guantanamo right now. What is your background?
No, my background is just my blinds.
Your blinds, okay. I was like, You look like you're in dire circumstances. All right, you're not in a...
I'm very comfortable. I've got a drink over here. It's all. I'm fine.
You're not gonna like hold up a sign that's like, "Help me, save me."
I'll start like tapping my nose if I need you to send for help.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Sorry, keep asking questions. I'll answer them.
Yeah. So Kevin Hart couldn't do the show.
Yeah. Yes, he couldn't do the show. But hopefully, maybe this season he can.
Yeah. Did he let you down easy?
Very easy. Very easy. I think he's very used to letting people down easy. Classy guy.
And I guess like you worked on The Office before you worked on the Mindy Project, and you were an actress and a writer in both, and you sort of you've sort of gone from being one of the writers and one of the actors to sort of the lead actress on the show and the sort of head writer creator of the show. What was it like adjusting with those two roles that you'd done before, but now you're sort of the skipper of the ship?
I will say, as anyone who's sort of been promoted, I think everyone would say this no matter what job it was, that I was ready for it and I was really excited about it. And I've always been a pretty decisive, confident person, so for me it wasn't that much of an adjustment. If anything, I was surprised at just not being in the writer's room as much, because on The Office, Kelly would have a line or two every episode, so it did take, I did have a little separation anxiety from the rest of the writer's room, but I have an amazing staff, so they come to set, so it sort of worked out.
I remember that episode of The Office where Jim becomes the boss for a week and he realizes, well, Mike's off like in the jungle or something, and he sort of realizes, oh man, like I sort of, all those things I thought about Michael over the years, I can sort of see how he sort of turned out the way he did. Is there some sort of things where you've realized, boy, I never realized it was that hard, like running a show?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because for a couple of things, every classic sitcom, as it turns out, has an episode like that because of how relatable that is, to think how easy it is to be the boss and then to see like, oh, this is like, get me out of here. But I remember Greg Daniels at the office, whenever he would get angry with us, with the writers, or thought we were being impertinent, he would say, I can't wait till you run your own show. I can't wait. And then you come and tell me how hard it is to work with you ungrateful people. And I always used to say, like, whatever, Greg. And then I started this job, and then I, about 4 months in, I texted him, and I was like, Greg, remember when you said that? I was like, you were right. Not that I have ungrateful writers, but the challenges of it, because what what the staff or the cast doesn't necessarily know is how much of more of the business side you deal with it when you're the showrunner and creator, like dealing with things like integrations and ad sales and going to edit and people's salaries and human resources issues that you don't necessarily have to deal with when you're a writer. But that's fun. I mean, I've learned a lot for the show creatively by being a manager, which has been nice.
And I guess it's like what parents tell their kids, like, I can't wait till you grow up and have your own kids, and you have to
exactly.
do it.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's what is it like? Because the series references a lot of romantic comedy films. There's obviously a big affection for those, and you sort of get to tell your own romantic comedy story, but you do it through the medium of television. We don't have to wrap up the story in 90 minutes to 2 hours. Like, how fun is that, getting to write sort of this long form story? And do you sort of know where you're heading, or are you just like each year sort of taking it as it comes?
It's so gratifying to be able to attach to characters and see it play out over the course of time. I mean, it's the feeling you have when you see your favorite movie and you wish there was just more of that. I mean, it's like why they made Fargo a series, I feel like, because you fell in love with that environment so much. And that's what's great about the show, especially with a performer like Chris Messina, who my energy as an actress is very open and expressive. But Chris is subtler, and I think that he really benefits from like tuning in every week to get to know that character more. And it's very rewarding watching him, because it's like over the course of a season I've seen fans go from being like, oh, he's interesting, that's a good-looking guy I've seen in a couple drama shows who seems like a good actor, to being like, how funny he is and the subtleness he does. So I think it's very good for certain kind of performances. And forgot the second half of your question. I'm not gonna lie. What was the second part of your question?
The second part of my question was, what's it like telling the stories over a long form, and do you know where it's heading, or do you just each year go, oh, let's see where things take us?
Because on network we don't have the benefit of a small amount of episodes, and I say benefit just because creatively, when I look at some of my friends on cable shows, what's great is if you know you have 12 episodes, you can tell one story, and you can plant seeds in the first episode and know that people will remember in 12 weeks, because it's a pretty short amount of time. You don't get to do that when you're doing 22 or 24 episodes. You have to chunk it off into like 3 sections or 3 arcs for the whole season. This year we're starting out with 15 episodes. I'm confident or hopeful that we will get more, so it's a little trickier, but it's exciting because we can look down the line and go, oh, we have some big things coming up this season, and we know that we want to do them in like episode 12. So it's great to work backwards from that right now with the writers.
We've been getting quite a few questions for you from the chat room, so I might go through a few of them now and get some answers. Tori asks, if you could take any character from another show and put them into the Mindy Project world, who would it be?
Daryl from Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah. Not me, but we're chatting with him later today. So that's good. Yeah.
Norman Reedus?
Yeah,
What?
not me, but one of the other editors, yeah.
Oh, man. I wish we could have done ours together. Walking Dead is so good. And to have Daryl on the Mindy Project with his crossbow and his like cut off shirt, I mean, there's no world on the Venn diagram of people who like The Walking Dead and the Mindy Project. I think there's probably not that big of an overlap, but those of us who do overlap are like, he's so good. He's great. Tell him I said hi.
I will pass that along. I'll pass that along to the person. Yeah. TMP is Dandy says, question about season 3 premiere. Will there be a jump in time from the season 2 final? And if so, could you tell us how much of one?
Good question. That's a great question. I think that the answer is yes and no. We we have planned out. I mean, I think I'm going to be writing the premiere. We have planned out that we pick up right where we started, but then also do a jump. So, yes and no.
Okay. And sort of, I guess, in terms of like your relationship with Danny stuff, Danny Linus asks, will we ever see a flashback of when Mindy and Danny first met?
You know, like anyone else who loves X-Men, I love origin stories. I think it's really fun. It's a fine line between doing a great origin story and one that's just like a little hokey and all the jokes come from, you know, the self-awareness of what's going to happen later. I do think they're great, and I actually think that season 3 is a good time to do them. So definitely the idea has come up of doing an episode that takes place in, like, you know, 2006 or something. And the world at that time happens to be in the show populated with people like Mark Duplass and Bill Hader. They were already in the world, so it's a little tempting, but I don't know if we're going to do it.
Mindanny Forever says, as the show has a passionate vocal fan base, what, if any, role does that play in keeping it on air?
A lot, I think. Our fans who love the show are not like casual viewers of it. They know it almost better than me, and I think me and my writing staff and my cast, we're so appreciative of it. And when people come up to me about loving the show, they obviously love Chris Messina's character, but they're often people, and it's so humbling to me, who look at what I have done and it inspires them personally if they happen to be writers or actors. So I am so honored by it, and I sometimes I hope that I show how grateful I am, because they've been a huge part of why the show is still on the air, and the network feels that, and the studio feels that. So I'm utterly grateful.
And they have another question of, how do you maintain the integrity of your vision for the show while also managing the influences and external sort of pressures from maybe fans and also maybe from critics?
You know, first of all, that's a challenge, because I am someone who is, my personality even as a kid was like people pleaser, and I'm addicted to feedback. And I think certainly from The Office I had to learn this, but I have to, if it's praise or criticism, I think I have to just continue to make a show that I would want to watch, because what ultimately happens is if you make a show based on fear out of something that critics have said or something that fans like and it's not true, then at the end of the day, if your show gets canceled, you have a show that you can't even say was your own show. And at least, like, no matter what, if I stick to my vision, then at least it was a show that I really believed in, so I won't have regrets down the line. You know, I haven't always stuck to that, but in general, I try to have that be the way that I work on the show.
Inkasaurus asks, Mindy said she had liked Danny for a long time. When did she develop or acknowledge her feelings for him?
My sense of it was that Mindy had always, we talked about this in the room a little bit, that she had always been attracted to Danny, but at some point had thought that he would never have liked her romantically back, that he was just so not an option that she's kind of suppressed it. Definitely after he pulled her into a kiss in the back of that plane, I think she had a sense that he was interested in her romantically. And I think once he did that and Mindy acquiesced in the kiss, I think she then was just realized her feelings. Even in that episode, I feel like she said something like, I think I'm in love with someone else. I think she said that, Mindy said that to Glenn Howerton's character. So I think she was kind of all in once Danny made the overture.
RR asks, how come Danny always kisses Mindy by holding her face? Is that Chris or the director?
By always holding her face?
Yeah.
What a specific blocking question. I love that. Yeah. That's a Chris Messina move. I don't tell him how to kiss, because he's been doing a pretty damn good job of it. So I'm like, whatever you want to do, Chris, I'll just receive.
Do you tell any of the actors how to kiss?
No. No, I don't. I'm actually, no, not at all. It's fun. It's been anthropologically very interesting to see how Seth Rogen kisses versus how Chris Messina kisses versus, Anders Holm. So maybe I'll write a magazine article about that someday.
Um, oh. Mindan's Minute asks, will fans get a chance to watch the original montage from the season 2 final?
Will they get a chance to watch like the New York City montage? I'm assuming is what they mean.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder. I bet we could, cut that clip and put it online on our website. I don't think anyone has specifically asked for that, but that's a great idea. We could probably do that. I think we could probably call somebody.
Yeah. We've got Mindy. What about this one? Oh yeah, TMP is Danny us again. I read the Glamour article today that Ike and David Strassen are going to direct an episode for the season. Is there any chance that you or Chris will as well?
I think I've directed a bunch at The Office, and I do like directing. I think unfortunately, directing the one of the first bunch of episodes this year would kind of take me out of the room a lot, and we have so many good directors lined up. We have Michael Spiller, who is our incredible director, who is our house director and executive producer. Lynn Shelton is going to come direct, who does all these great movies that we love. So we have a bunch of people. Oh, Beth McCarthy Miller, who's directed some of my favorite episodes of 30 Rock and this show. So we have a lot of really good directors. And for me, directing is a lot about prep, which would take me out of the room. So I can't imagine. I mean, maybe I would direct the last episode of the year because it would give me a little extra cushion. But it's something I think about, but I don't think I'm going to do it anytime soon.
Team Dandy asks, what was your favorite episode of the series so far, either as a writer or an actress?
I have to say, I think our finale this year, Danny and Mindy, was my favorite episode. I got to do so much stuff, and I also got to do what I usually, it wasn't a Mindy point of view episode, so I got to do a lot of stuff that I don't get to do. Is I wasn't in the know. I wasn't scheming for once. And as much as I love the schemy energy that Mindy has all the time, it was great to just be like, pluckily going along and having everything surround me. And that was a really fun thing to play that I hadn't gotten to play. Also, Chris is just so good in it. And the rest of the cast, Ike Barinholtz is so funny in it too. So I think, probably our finale, Danny and Mindy, is my favorite episode so far.
Do we like being a writer and being an actor on a show? Does that is that the best of both worlds, or I could imagine sort of all the actors are going out to do something and then you're stuck in the writers' room and then all the writers are going off to do something while the shoot's happening or something, and you just keep on missing out on things.
You do. There is a little bit of that. There is a little bit of that. You do miss out on I come back into the room and they have some long private joke that I don't understand, but it's kind of amazing to have the job of writer-performer because you get to just know more people, and it's also good because you become better at one of the other things because you spend so much time with the other, if that makes sense. I'm so much a better writer because I'm on set all day with the actors, and I know their cadences, and I'm so much of a better actor because I know where the characters are going and which the other actors don't necessarily get to know. And I know where it's headed. So tonally, I kind of have a leg up as an actor. So that is probably the single best part of it. But yeah, for sure, I'm always there's some funny thing happening in the writer's room or some fun thing on set, and I get a little jealous.
I bet you're always hearing a lot, oh, you had to be there.
You had to be there, yes, exactly.
Wait, we can't explain it, just...
It was awesome, you missed it, just don't even worry about it. Yes, a lot of that.
Yeah, but it must be so much, so rewarding to be able to, see the whole, work through, through the whole process, to write it and then get to perform your own writing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's nothing more gratifying than something we come up, which is a kernel in the writer's room, and then seeing it on the stage. And then actually, after we wrap and after I'm in the room, I'll go edit and to just go through the takes of it. It's so gratifying, and that's the thing about TV that I think is what is better than film, at least for the writer, is that you just get to see things quickly. And if you're as impatient as I am, I would never be able to wait the 2.5 years until everyone gets to see it. We shoot an episode in 3 weeks, it's on the air, and so it's very good for my disposition.
Yeah. And I guess with all this, like, what is it like being, you know, I feel like when you're on NBC with The Office, they had like such a good comedy lineup with 30 Rock and The Office and Parks and Rec and other shows, and now you're sort of on Fox, but they seem like they're having like a great amount of shows of New Girl and Brooklyn Nine-Nine and the Mindy Project and stuff. So it's like you're bouncing from like great comedy lineup to great comedy lineup.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always felt a company. When I was at NBC, I loved our Thursday night lineup. I thought 30 Rock was one of my favorite shows, obviously, and now it's like being here. Brooklyn is super fun, and moreover than that, it's like a lot of my friends from NBC have come over here to create shows on Fox. So it doesn't feel all that different because the creative forces behind the shows that I like are the same as when I was at NBC. So that's kind of nice.
Sarah B asks, Mindy, where do you get that fabulous moon necklace?
Thank you for asking. I was wondering when someone was going to say something. This necklace is, this is Anita Co. This is an Anita Co. necklace. Thank you for saying that.
There you go. Yeah, so there we go. Let's see, we've got one more question to ask from the chat room. Oh, okay, from Shelley L. Will we see more destination episodes like LA or Santa Fe? I love the cast interaction in those.
Oh, thank you very much. Those are super fun episodes. You know, I've always thought that we've established that Danny's little brother, Richie, played by Max Minghella, is from Miami. And I think that is a really fun destination because I think a character like Mindy would love Miami and be really attracted to some aspects of it, like the hip hop culture there, and just think that and would fall in love with it. And then other characters would like absolutely detest it. So we've been kicking around the idea of them going to Miami for a conference.
That's cool. And I guess I sort of just want to finish with asking you, like, with the Mindy Project going forward, what's something that you're most excited to be putting into that show? Something that you sort of feel like, oh, we haven't got a chance to do that yet, that you sort of would like to do?
The single biggest thing that I'm excited about is showing Danny and Mindy as a couple, and that can be, you know, people ask me, like, will they or won't they, is so much of what the show is about, and what happens after that. Aren't you worried about the magic being gone? And I'm so excited about people seeing the adventures that Mindy and Danny take and the trouble that Mindy gets Danny into. That's just as enjoyable in season 3. And just the observations that we can mine about a couple, I think is something I'm really excited for people to see.
Well, Mindy, thank you so much for spending time with us today and taking the time out of your schedule to talk about all this. We wish you all the best of luck with the Emmys coming up and with the Mindy Project season 3.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Cool.